This is Doug Scheiding of Rogue Cookers, Texas embedded correspondent. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show, a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, and tonight especially the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, home of the world. Greetings. Hopefully, you guys are recording the All-Star Game. Tuning in live to the Really Big Barbecue. I'm your program host, by the way, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you here. If you feel like joining in tonight, and you are highly encouraged to call in during both the interview segments in the first hour, maybe the second hour, but if you want to know how to get in touch with me, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening. In case you didn't get the newsletter, coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it is the second Tuesday of the month of July. We have 5 months left, 4.5 months left, I guess, or so, if you're counting technically. 2019 rapidly coming to a close, but the second Tuesday of the month brings a visit from none other than the creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website on the face of the earth. He has also pioneered the Pitmasters Club Forum. He's a part of this new Barbecue Stars series of videos that you can purchase. I'm not sure exactly how that whole thing works. You do have to pay a price. I don't know if you can pick who you want to see or if you just pay one entrance fee. Maybe somebody in the chat room knows about that can enlighten me a little bit. Or we could ask Meathead himself, I guess. But we have the 14 and 35 past the first hour segments ready to go with Meathead. We have a ton of Facebook questions. Not only do we have a ton of Facebook questions, but a lot of those Facebook questions are actually really good Facebook questions. So we do have a topic that we are going to be hitting on. Meathead slightly touched on it just in a very cursory sense last month, and he has really fired up this bandwagon of not agreeing with how Traeger is positioning itself in the gas grill market, or what they are saying to those people that have gas grills and that cook with gas grills. He is going to vent on that first, and then we will get to your multitude of Facebook questions after that. And that will wrap the first hour. Then we will move to the second hour, as we followed in 2019 a little earlier, a few months ago, a month or so ago, whatever. Big on this show always in the first part of the year is the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and in doing that, we have had some guests that didn't make it into the Hall, or they were part of the 9 semifinalists, if that's what you want to call them. But tonight we do have a representative of one of the 2019 Barbecue Hall of Fame induction recipients. That's probably not the right English, but that's all right. One of the inductees into the 2019 Barbecue Hall of Fame. That's better. He was a guest on the show way back in 2012, believe it or not. It is the brand ambassador for Stubbs Barbecue and grandson of C.B. Stubblefield. Rocky Stubblefield will be joining me in the second hour, and we will be talking a little history again. I mean, if you haven't crawled all the way back through 7 years of archives, and there's more than that, by the way, but if you haven't crawled back through it, and you are just finding this show here over the last couple weeks, we'll get a little background on CB Stubblefield and how he started the barbecue passion, where that grew into business, and then, of course, how it grew into the juggernaut that it is today, and where they might look to grow. And then we'll also obviously talk about getting the news that CB Stubblefield has been inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame and what that means to him being a grandson, obviously other family members, people within the Stubbs business. And I'm kind of intrigued on, have they seen any type of uptick in sales or recognition or requests for media other than me because of the Barbecue Hall of Fame? I know there were some thoughts that if you got into the barbecue, somehow you were going to magically find a new stream of wealth or a new level of fame, something along these lines. So we'll get the insight from Rocky Stubblefield in the second hour. That's who you got. Stubbs Barbecue, second hour. Meathead, first hour. Your phone calls and emails if you want to jump in. At BBQ Central Show on Twitter and Facebook if you want to follow me socially. Facebook is, at BBQ Central Show, Instagram and Twitter, /BBQ Central Show on the Facebook. So first, I want to thank everybody who called into the hotline over the past few days as I put a request out that if you wanted to cut an ID for the show, like, hey, this is Timmy in Louisiana, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show, or if you wanted to say so, who knows. But I said at its very bare bones, if you wouldn't mind calling into the hotline, you don't have to talk to me. There isn't like 15 takes. Just gimmick up and let me have it over the phone, and then I'll do the rest. And I had easily 10, 11, maybe 12 new ones flow in over the last couple days. Such luminaries as Dino Dan, Gene Apicella, Jeff Stone, Sylvie Curry, Meat Mitch, Steve Ray, Stover, Terry Heil, Brisky Dorf called in, believe it or not. So Doug Scheiding was in. So a number of you have really stepped up and cut IDs for the show, which I like. It keeps it fresh, and they're on rotation, so you might not hear yourself today or next week or the week after that, but maybe the week after that. Who knows? So they just randomly get picked and shot up there. There'll be always one at the top of the show, always one at the top of the second hour, and one to close the show because they run right at the top of the hour. So there you have it, and thanks again to everybody that's called in to take part. Now, in keeping with the Mayo/Miracle Whip conversation that I had with Sam, the cooking guy, last week, I ran a poll on the tweeter the other day, and as expected, and no surprise to this guy, Mayo ran away with the win. 70% love Mayo, 30% love Miracle Whip, which means 30% of you are certifiably crazy, and 70% of you are Mensa status. And thank you to all those who voted. You know, for such a large Twitter following as I have, a little disappointed in the voter turnout, I guess. Lastly, and this is, a sports town in Cleveland, but this is not a sports show. However, I do have a hot take as it relates to the sports world, and specifically my favorite sport of all time, women's soccer. Please tell me that you watched the FIFA World Cup finals, because I did. And let me tell you something. That game was awesome. I mean, if you can't sit there and just love all over the footwork and the running and the passing and the kicking and the setting up and no scoring for like an hour, you just hate sports. You probably don't like yourself too much, but you definitely hate sports. Top that with the fact that this is the national team. So it's like double great. Who doesn't love soccer? Who doesn't love soccer? You know who? Me. Get that big stuff out of here. Is anyone even talking about this anymore? No. Can you name me more than 2 people on the team? No. Do you know why? Because it's soccer. And let me beat you to the punch. This is not a women/men thing either. I have 3 daughters. I'm really into women's rights, equal opportunity, equal pay, equal play, all that crap. At least the women's team wins. A lot, I might add. The men's team is horrible. They lose a lot. The women's team wins a lot, like world championships. The men's team can't even get out of whatever round it is to start. I can't even name one man on the soccer playing team. So, to recap, lots of running, flopping, more running, and in 98 minutes, you can't get more than 2 total points scored. And if you disagree, that's fine. You are allowed to be wrong, but let me ask you this. Where does soccer rate in America? And I'm talking about professionally. I'll tell you where it rates. Just ahead of chess and just behind backgammon.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I know what you're saying, Remp. You hate soccer. And you know what? You're right. I hate soccer. If soccer went away, you would never miss it. And the good news is there's a whole world around us that loves this stuff. Every other country in the world loves soccer. They live and die soccer. And you know what that makes the rest of the world? Wrong! I would run down the list of sports that are better, but we would have to turn this into a 4-hour show. Maybe Meathead has a take on that. He's coming up out of the break. I'm going to talk to you quickly about the BBQ Guru, makers of award-winning barbecue rubs and... makers of automatic pit temperature control devices, right? Look, they've always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy and fun because it can be, especially with this new cooker called the Monolith BBQ Guru Edition Grill. The Monolith is the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control and greater freedom with automatic temperature control. Easily choose cooking time, temperature. Let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster. And with minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. Now, if you have an automatic temperature-controlled device controller from the BBQ Guru, you don't need to go out and buy a new one in order to hook it up to the Monolith. It has the draft fan already built into it, as I had mentioned. The first one ever to do that. You can just take your existing controller and then hook it right up to the fan. Away you go. Away you go. So fun. Now, if you want to upgrade that technology, that's on you. Give them a call at 800-288-GURU. You can also visit their website and see what they have at bbqguru.com. Very easy. They make it so simple. And remember, make sure that you ask all of your questions so you can make sure that you're buying all the right stuff. Make sure you are outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. That's what they say. All right, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, sauces, grilling oils. All of Butcher Barbecue products are tested on the competition circuit as well as in the backyards worldwide. So don't forget, you can be the pitmaster of your neighborhood by visiting butcherbbq.com and stocking up now. Always trust your butcher. It is the second Tuesday of the month, and of course, that brings a visit from none other than the creator of AmazingRibs.com, Meathead. Hey, Meathead.
Hey, Greg, and hello, Centralites.
What's happening, Meathead?
Well, I'm listening to you ranting about soccer.
All right, get on it.
All right, listen, I'm a sports fan. I played a lot of sports when I had a flat stomach. And, but I never got into soccer, and I felt the same way.
Do you know why? Because you're from America, Meathead. Nobody likes soccer here.
Hey, you mean the World Championship soccer country?
Yeah,
but I watched the entire match on Sunday. I just had to watch it.
One match.
It was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. I thought it was a really exciting match. You call it a match? What do you call it? A game? A pitch?
Soccer match.
They play on a pitch?
Yeah, play on the pitch. Yeah.
It was just a lot of fun. I saw a lot of skill. And yes, I can name Megan and Morgan and Rose and Crystal and Carly and Toby and Julie.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't name them on Saturday. But
can you name any of the men?
No.
Of course not.
And they got their butts kicked this week, too, in some sort. It's interesting. The men were in some sort of Western Hemisphere championship or something. I think it was even here in Chicago against Mexico. They got their butts kicked on the same day as the women. I mean, what is with FIFA putting two championship games from opposite genders on the same day? I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, and you kind of proved my point, Meathead. I mean, you didn't take time out of the additional 4 weeks leading up to that championship game to watch even one match of the women, right?
I watched like 5 or 10 minutes, but one of the problems was they weren't really doing a great job of publicizing when the matches were being held.
Yes.
But I followed it, but I did. I sat down and I haven't watched a full sporting game even through the basketball season since football season ended. And I just sat down Sunday in the easy chair and turned on the game before it started and watched it right through the awards ceremony. And it was just a lot of fun, a lot of skill.
Sure.
A lot of talent.
Very athletic.
A lot of very pretty girls, too, I might say. I don't know.
We all know Meathead loves a leggy broad, right? No doubt about it. Meathead loves him some legs. Yes.
And, I thought it was interesting, the political aspects of it, that they're struggling for equal pay. So, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I'll see it again in 4 years.
I guess if that's when they're playing it, I will take your word for it. So and we had an onslaught of Facebook questions and some Instagram questions. So I'm very happy that we're going to be able to dive into what appears to be almost maybe a baker's dozen or so. I don't know if we'll probably get to all of them, but certainly we'll try to get through most of them. But there is a topic to discuss at hand first, and then we will dig into these questions. And, last month, as I start to go back and try and trace where the fire started, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Last month, we were coming out of a commercial break, and it was, I forget exactly who it was, but it obviously had sparked something in Traeger with you, and you said, hey, does Traeger still sponsor the show? And I said, not this year, but they had done last year. And you said, well, good, because if they were sponsoring you, I might be saying something that might toss them askew. And you went briefly onto something that maybe they weren't being as business friendly as they should be. And we didn't really get into it too much, but it stuck with you, and you started to get after them a little bit on social media. So let's kind of run it back a little bit and get a full scope view of exactly what the issue is, and we can listen to the commercial as well if you're interested, and then we can dig into it more a little bit before we get into the Facebook stuff.
Yeah, it's stuck in my craw. If you have the commercial, why don't you cue it up before we go any further?
Right, stand by. Let me grab the audio here from the commercial, if it is. Well, I had it ready to go, of course, but all right, my phone's connecting. Yes. Oh, dear. Oh, the internet. How dare you.
While you're doing that,
yes,
I'll
please.
just give our listeners the background.
Yeah, go ahead.
Greg is getting ready to play a new ad. Now, I haven't seen it over broadcast media. I don't know if Traeger is doing broadcast media, but I have seen it on the internet, on YouTube, as a lead-in to other videos. And I want to preface it by saying, and I know, this may be why they're doing this ad, because they're coaxing me into saying I like Traeger products. I like the Traeger grills. I like their new Bluetooth-driven pellet feed system. And Max Good, who shows up on your show occasionally, who tests grills, has given them high ratings. But they are running an ad that really aggravates the hell out of me and is beneath their dignity, and they ought to fire the ad agency that did it, and they ought to just pull the damn thing down. If it's an attempted humor, it fails.
All right, do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let me cue it up. I do have
This is an original.
All right, hold on. I got to pull it over into your screen here, Meathead, so I apologize.
Oh, you got the video.
Oh, sure. You know, this is a big deal over here. Okay, let me run the sound back so everybody's ready. Blow it out, and here we go.
This is an original wood-fired Traeger grill. That's a propane gas grill. Hey, buddy, what flavor propane are you cooking with?
Gas. Smells like gas. Let's eat.
The problem with propane is when you cook with gas, your food tastes like gas.
Are you guys tasting this? Tastes like gas.
This hot dog tastes like gas.
Mine tastes like gas.
Smells like gas.
You can taste it. Tastes like gas.
This dude is cooking food that tastes like gas.
Perfect.
If you want...
All right, there we go. I cut it short just a little bit, but I mean, here's... Well, finish what you're going to say, and then I'll jump in a little.
All right. Being an old fart and a little out of the flow, I didn't get the taste like ass double entendre, which I guess is apparently a popular saying, which Greg, who is hipper than I, informed me that that's a popular taste like ass. I am not familiar with that expression. I can see that there's that undertone, but just the idea that they would make people who cook with gas grills, or just make the false impression. Gas grills do not impart a flavor. There used to be a rumor that there was a mercaptan from sulfur smell and flavor. It's not true. Gas grills are perfectly fine tools, and I have one, and I use it occasionally. I don't use it all the time. I use pellets. I use gas. I use charcoal. I use them all. Has its place. There's nothing wrong with it. And the story that I told you when you interviewed me for the Pitmaster Club, and the story that sticks in my mind, because I'm a business person. I run a website and I supervise some sales activities. And I never forget a lesson I learned when I was a boy. I was around 10 years old in the late 50s, and our black and white TV was on the fritz. And Dad said, why don't we go out and look at these newfangled color TVs? Maybe we should get one and get rid of that old black and white TV. And in those days, there was no Best Buy. There was no electronics store where they had 20 different brands. You had to go to the General Electric store and the Philips store and the Zenith store and, Sears. And each one carried their own brand. And we spent the whole day bouncing around. And every store we went to, the Zenith guy told us, let me tell you about how bad the Philips is. And then the Philips guy would let me tell you how bad the General Electric is. And the GE guy would, let me tell you how bad. And we just heard this from stuff. We didn't buy a goddamn thing.
Really?
And did not buy anything. We came back, and eventually we just got another black and white TV because they all were terrible, according to the sales reps. When you're out selling, and this is a lesson I tell our people, and this is a lesson for you, Traeger, when you're selling, if you've got a good product, and you do have a good product, sell the benefits. Sell what makes it a great product. Do not kick the competition in the teeth. Do not belittle them. Do not lower yourself and beneath your dignity. And I know that you're sitting there saying, well, it worked. We got Meathead to say we make good products. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just think if that's the goal, it's just not right. It's just sorry.
And you don't find it, so I would, playing devil's advocate, of course, saying that they had to use the run-up on propane and then say gas in order to run the rest of the joke or commercial, which is tastes like ass. So they're, in effect, they're using gas to get to a punchline, which is nullifying gas. They're just saying it tastes bad because it tastes like ass. But you don't find that funny either.
No, and I don't. And I sent you a link today, and I don't know if you plan to play this one, but I sent you a link to a competing product. What was it?
It's Camp Chef. I got it right here.
Camp Chef. Camp Chef. Okay. Run a few seconds of this. Now, this is funny.
Bad grill is a sin. Repent. I'm the grill god, and I'm here to help. Grilling doesn't have to be this way. But here's the problem. You love 5-star food, but you don't have the tools or the time to be a 5-star chef. You call yourself the king of the patio, the grill master, the barbecue legend of the whole wide cul-de-sac. But on game day, you're the one who throws pre-cooked restaurant ribs on the grill, just so people eat your cooking. Also a sin. But it's not your fault, son. It's your cooking options. First option, the traditional gas grill. Sure, gas is convenient and great for searing, but the only added flavor comes when you accidentally burn stuff. If this cow wanted to be cremated, he would have put it in his will. Second option, wood. If you want to do right by your meat, you cook it over a wood fire. It's the technique used by all the best chefs, bakers, and grillers in the world. But even if you are an expert, cooking with wood requires more time and patience than parenthood.
Help, Daddy!
Not now. I'm babysitting.
So what will it be? Convenience?
All right. So point out where you think the differences are here.
Well, I look, I'm not a student of comedy, but I think, it's just funnier. It's just funnier.
You don't think that they are taking unnecessary shots at other sectors of the industry like you think they're just taking a run at, like Traeger's taking a run at gas grill at the lowest level?
Yeah. I mean, I just yesterday, there's a website called Quora, and if you guys haven't found it, it's kind of cool. You can go to Quora and you can ask any question you want under the sun. And in theory, some expert is out there listening and will answer. And a lot of people ask questions about cooking and grilling, and they ask me and other people who are into barbecue and grilling or meat or whatever. And the question was, if I buy a Traeger, am I cheating? And I just thought that was so typical of so many questions we hear. Is pellet smokers cheating? And, my answer was, well, if you hate good food, then perhaps you could call it cheating. But if you really want to be pure and true, go out in the backyard, dig a hole, set fire to some tree trunks, throw them in there, get some saplings, lay it over the top, and put your meat on top, because that's traditional barbecue. If you're cooking in any kind of steel tank, tub, buoy, or grill, you've strayed from tradition.
Yeah. Meathead.
Hey, Greg, my screen's frozen. I don't know about other people.
No, you're fine here, so let's just stick with it for now.
Okay.
Meathead talking with me from AmazingRibs.com. All right, so you think poor idea, poor execution, maybe a decent thought at a high level, but there's no reason to be, as you say, kind of lowering themselves beneath what they should.
Sophomoric, puerile, childish, uncool, and inaccurate, fake news, unfair, and they just I'm not alone. I think they did themselves lost an opportunity, and so it just frustrates me, because I think there's a lot of really good gas grills out there, and you can make really good food on a gas grill.
Yeah, and I have one, and I use it quite a bit, I might add. So I love it. Also, I have a number of pellet cookers, which I use, and I have a Lang that I use. So I'm a big believer in having all the options at your disposal if you can.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Traeger stuff. Let's go ahead and start answering some of these questions as time is dwindling, of course. Let me ask you this to lead off, Meathead. Are you going to some type of sous vide summit this year?
Yeah,
What the hell is that?
Your favorite topic, I know.
I mean, I have to be honest. While I haven't become like, I see it in spurts where I use it in spurts. I'll do it for steak.
You do?
Sure, I do it with steak. I'll do chicken, but I don't do the pork butts and the briskets like
No.
these guys because I don't believe in it. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I just don't believe
with it is growing, and my opinion of it is my very first opinion. And we're going back like 5 or 6 years. The first time I tried sous vide, I took a couple of ribeyes and I put one and did one nice big thick one, did reverse sear, and did another one sous vide, and then seared it over a hot charcoal fire, and came to the conclusion that the sous vide was more tender and more juicy, but the reverse sear was more flavorful. And I don't think much has changed. Now, the one thing I want to do before I go to this summit, it's a big conference. It runs, Friday, July 29th. Where's my glasses?
It's coming up in a couple of weeks. Are the dudes that do sous vide everything YouTube channel going to be there?
Pardon me?
All right.
It's the 19th.
All right.
Where the hell are my glasses? If I had my glasses, I could find my glasses.
I wish they were on the top of your head so I could say, hey, they're on the top of you, but they're not.
Aggravating. But in any case, there they are. It's July 19th, and that's a Friday. Runs Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's in Delaware.
Delaware?
Yeah, it's just east of Philadelphia. I don't even, it's essentially a suburb of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And they've got a bunch of sous vide luminaries, and I'm speaking on sous vide Q, which is the term we have given to sous vide with barbecue. And just for the uninitiated, I'm not going to give the whole sous vide spiel by now. Most people know what it is, but it's a technique for making sure you don't overcook food and that you make food tender and juicy by putting in a zipper bag, slipping the bag into warm water. And if you heat the water precisely, like 132 degrees for steak, it'll never go beyond 132. So you'll always have a medium rare steak. But when you take it out, it's butt ugly. And so you want to sear it. And most people sear it in a cast iron pan or on a stovetop. But you can sear it on a grill, or you can now take it and move it to the smoker. You can do a variety of things, and I'm going to talk about sous vide Q, from the sous vide bag to the barbecue and grill. And they've got a bunch of other speakers here. Some scientists, some chefs.
Anybody we know? Are the guys from sous vide everything going to be on there?
I don't know how many of these people you know. There's Scott Heimendinger and Jason Logsdon and Eric Villegas, and I think these are the luminaries of the sous vide world.
Huh.
They probably don't know who Tuffy Stone and Myron Mixon are.
I doubt that, but
these are the Tuffy Stones and Myron Mixons, and of the
sous vide world, right?
Sous vide world.
What kind of attendance are they expecting? What do you think?
I think they're calling for about 300 attendees. I know that one of the things is after I do my presentation that evening, I'm going to be cooking. Allen Brothers is supplying some steaks, and if you don't know Allen Brothers, they're not as high profile as Snake River Farms and some of the other guys, but they're specialists in USDA prime steaks to restaurants, and they're going to have a whole bunch of steaks there. They're going to sous vide a bunch of these steaks for me, and I'm going to sear them on top of a charcoal chimney, which is a technique that I pioneered. And I don't know for sure if I invented it, but I've been using it and propagating the concept. And it's a great way to finish a sous vide. You just fill a charcoal chimney about halfway with charcoal, and it's the back end of an F-16. It's like 1,000 degrees, and it sears a steak in a minute or less. Flip, and you're done, and you get a gorgeous, and you can get a deep sear. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have 3 charcoal chimneys set up, and I'm going to be searing steaks for the crowds. So that should be fun. It's called the Sous Vide Summit. I don't have the link at my fingertips. I'm terrible. But I think if you just Google Sous Vide Summit, if not, drop me a note, meathead@amazingribs.com, and I'll send you info. I don't think it's terribly expensive. It does sound like it could be fun. If nothing else, there's going to be some good food.
All right, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com joining me here on the show. Meathead, stand by, and we'll come back with more Facebook questions here. So, hold on, Meathead. You just wait a damn minute. I got stuff to do. We are going to talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. Hold that thought, Meathead. Don't forget, write it down. Green Mountain Grills are some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. Look at that. Editing on the fly. Look at you. I like it. Green Mountain Grills have some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. They have now 2 different product lines to choose from. They have the classic or the traditional line, which is, I have one of those. And they have the Jim Bowie, the Daniel Boone. Davy Crockett is held separately because that kind of is a model they renovate first before they bring over some of the other stuff to the bigger models. Then, earlier in the year, they introduced the Prime line. This has a heavier chassis build, yes. It also has a peek-in window in the main cooking chamber. It also has the peek-in window in the pellet hopper. They have 2, not 1, but 2 internal meat thermometers. And, of course, all the accessories that you need to make sure that they are ready to rock. They have the wood pellets that you might need. They have sauces and rubs, other accessories. Everything you need to make your pellet cooking life great. It's Green Mountain Grills. Again, the website, greenmountaingrills.com. And you can check them out by visiting their website. You can also find where their dealers are at because they only sell through dealers. It's not online or anything like that. So you can make sure you're educated, you're ready to use that thing, and that you're not going to wonder what the hell you should be doing next. Jason Baker and the gang over there believe that a dealer network is the way to go, so they can train the dealers train the customers, and everybody is in the know going forward. More Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
We are back. This portion of the show brought to you by CookinPellets.com. If you have a Green Mountain Grill or a Traeger or a Cook Shack or a Mac or any one of those and you want a great source for pellets, Cookin Pellets is your place to go. Visit CookinPellets.com, COOKIN, CookinPellets.com, or you can also purchase on Amazon. And we are visiting with Meathead. Meathead, you also wanted to mention that Barbecue Stars thing real quick?
Well, you were talking about it in your preamble.
Yes, I was.
This is, there's a program out there called Master Classes. Google that if you want. It's really interesting, and this is modeled on that. Master Classes, you can pay a flat fee, and they have a series of video classes taught by top professionals. Steven Spielberg is teaching how to direct a movie, that kind of thing. Thomas Keller is teaching cooking. They have several other people, and Aaron Franklin is teaching barbecue. Well, this is a Barbecue Stars program. It's separate, but it runs similarly. They've brought about 11 of us, Tuffy, myself, Harry Sue, Ariane Dogan, who is the queen of foie gras and game meats, and the guys who founded the Steak Cook-Off Association. And Kent, I forget the guy's last name, Kent Rollins, I think, the cowboy cook. He's expert in chuck wagon cooking, and each of us are doing about 8 or 10 short videos for these master classes, Barbecue Stars classes, and you can buy the whole program. And you'll see all of them, all 11 of us, all 8 or 10 of our. So you get like 80 or so videos for a flat fee. They had a pre-registration program, and I think it was $180, and that's closed now. They're going to reopen registration this fall. The classes will start broadcasting this fall. I haven't taped mine yet. I'm still writing the scripts. But it looks kind of fun. I'm going to work real hard to make some good videos for you. So keep your eyes out for that. If you don't subscribe to my newsletter, Smoke Signals, just go to AmazingRibs.com and subscribe, and I'll announce it when when it starts airing. Plus, we announce all kinds of new stuff in our newsletter, so it just comes out once a month. We don't hector you with weekly or daily spam.
All right, Meathead, we have 2 crazy questions very quickly. Off to your left shoulder behind you, there's a top drawer that's open. What's in the top drawer?
Oh, my wallet, my car keys.
Wallet, car
Sunglasses,
keys, sunglasses. Just general
binoculars.
stuff. General house stuff.
Yeah, I occasionally smoke a Peterson. And if anybody's a pipe smoker out there,
look at that.
They know Petersons. These are really great pipes. And the beauty of the Peterson is the hole is in the top of the tenon, not the end. Huh. So the hot smoke hits the roof of your mouth, not your tongue.
What does that do?
Important. Pardon?
Why is that important?
Well, your tongue is very sensitive, and if you're a taster, like I am, you don't want to burn your tongue. But the roof of your mouth has very few taste buds.
How often do you smoke that pipe?
Once a week. I used to smoke almost daily. Occasionally when I'm walking the dog. But if I'm going to, I'll have a good. I have 2 or 3 Petersons, and they're really good pipes.
What kind of a tobacco do you install in there? What's your blend of choice?
There's a local tobacco shop, and he's got a blend that he makes that I like. It's a Latakia blend, so it's a fine shred.
Also, what's the last question about pipe? Oh, do you inhale that stuff? Or you just like roll it around your mouth and then?
It's too strong to inhale.
Much. Yeah,
but it has a lovely fragrance.
Okay.
It really does.
So how does it taste? Does it taste like a cigar kind of stuff?
Oh, the pipe tobacco is a more fragrant, aromatic flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the same kind of seductive smell you see at a barbecue competition with all those great hickory smoke flavors in the air. It's a different smell, but it's an attractive aroma like that. I've never found cigars attractive.
Me neither.
I've never gotten into them. I had a lawyer who used to bring them in from Cuba when it was illegal, and I just never got into cigars.
And do you thumb the top of the bowl there?
Not with my thumb, but I have a tamper that I'll tamp it down with.
Yeah, but don't like pipe smokers put their thumb over it while they're drawing or something to like.
No, that'll raise a blister. I won't do that. No.
All right, I'm just trying to think of all the pipe wives' tales and husbands' tales.
No, if you do it right, though, you shouldn't have to light it more than once.
Oh, all right. So you got to be like drawing on that thing fairly regular.
Very gently, and that's part of the beauty of having a good pipe is that it's insulated, it holds the heat, and it doesn't let the fire go out.
All right, well, it sounds like we need to be doing a masterclass on pipe smoking. Forget this barbecue shit.
Not me, but I do enjoy it occasionally.
All right, question from Diane Me, Loyal Centralite, who has for years put a self-imposed ban from listening to the show because of my stick-to-itiveness on the horse meat program, but nevertheless. She asks, I need to defrost a frozen 18-pound cryovac brisket in 24 hours. Is this realistically possible? And if so, how would you do it?
By the way, it's good to see you, Diane. We've never really communicated directly, but I know who you are and I follow you, and I'm honored that you would ask a question. I just posted in the YouTube chat a link where I've written about defrosting. The problem is, and she probably knows this, why she's asking, is brisket. It's a big, thick cut. You can actually defrost thin cuts in hot water. And there's an article on that link that I posted from researchers where they tested thinner cuts like 1-inch steak or chicken breast and stuff. You can actually put it in hot water. All right, here's the theory. Air is a lousy conductor, as you know, because when you cook on a smoker, you're warming the meat with warm air. And it takes forever to cook a brisket because the air is not conducting a lot of heat. Whereas if you're cooking sous vide, the food is submerged in water. It's in a plastic bag, but water conducts heat better. And so if you take a brisket and put it in a beer cooler and fill it with 40-degree water, which is, will keep the bacteria from growing. It's still only 8 degrees above freezing, but it's 8 degrees warmer than that frozen brisket. And that 8 degrees is sufficient to draw a lot of heat in. It's just like cooking in a pit or sous videing, but it's at a much cooler temperature. So you're introducing heat to the exterior of the meat, and then that exterior of the meat transmits the heat down in. Now, will it get a 18-pound brisket done in 24 hours? That's interesting. I don't know the answer to that, but here's what I would suggest, and I've had some experience with this. With turkey, I have smoked a frozen turkey, and you can do it.
Straight from frozen?
Straight from the freezer. Hard as a rock, bowling ball hard. You can. So what I would try now, and if it fails, Diane, don't come after me. I would try putting it in cold water around 40 degrees, and that will probably defrost it most of the way. It may not get the deep center, but you could still throw it in the pit. And while it's in the pit, it's going to thaw. And now it'll cook slower, perhaps, than normally because you've got a very cold center. But, all this talk about take the brisket out of the fridge and let it sit at room temp, you can leave a brisket sit at room temp for 4 hours, and it's not coming up to room temp. It's still cold in that center. I've done this with a 2-inch steak. It takes like 3 hours for a 2-inch steak to come to room temp. So that cold center is going to be a cold center out of the fridge and out of the cooler. So it may not be too much different than normal. And if it does take a little longer, you'll be able to track it with your pit thermometer. And you just might benefit from a thicker bark because a cold center taking longer will probably dry out the surface more, and you might get a thicker bark. I don't know. It'd be really interesting to hear what you end up doing. But don't use the hot water technique on anything thicker than a 1-inch thick. But it just might work, if you've got 24 hours into a 40-degree water bath, should defrost it most of the way, and then in the pit the rest of the way.
All right, there you go, Diane, and thanks for writing in. Next question is from Leonard Aberman, and he says, Meathead, I want to make pulled pork, but I want to try something other than the traditional rubs. Do you have a recipe for perhaps a Korean-style pulled pork, or maybe some other non-traditional pulled pork?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm really a fan of Asian flavors. When you start talking Asian flavors, you're talking hoisin sauce, you're talking sesame oil, and 5-spice. Those are the core flavors that we identify with. I mean, now you can drill down even further, and you can get into some of the more exotic flavors. Of course, soy sauce, such things as that. Nuoc man, which are the Vietnamese flavors, Thai flavors. I don't see any reason why you couldn't use a paste, with gochujang. Gochujang is a hot, spicy soy paste, and it is. I'm just gonna. Oh, it's a.
Is it Diane Me? It's Diane Me calling to thank you.
Yeah, Diane Me. It's spam call.
Wow.
By the way, I just posted it on my Twitter feed. Consumer Reports is there's a bill before Congress now about
Meathead. Let's stay on task. We're losing time. Let's talk about barbecue shit. Let's go.
Yeah, but this is really aggravating. I'm having a conversation with you and your audience, and that's a spam call. So fight against it. Ask your congressman to pass this bill.
Right.
Gochujang. I'd have to think about a rub that I might come up with, but I would definitely start with miso paste or gochujang, and maybe some sesame oil and soy sauces, and go for some of those Asian flavors.
Nick Camacho writes, I initially planned to cook pulled pork for Independence Day, but we had a change of plans, and I ended up with a Costco vac pack of pork shoulder in my fridge for 5 days before panicking and cooking it because I was unsure I could put it in the freezer after being out that long. Can you touch on duration that meat can stay in the fridge how packaging affects that, and can you freeze meat after it's been in the fridge for 3 or 4 days?
Okay. First of all, if you keep your fridge temp below 38, between 32 and 38, not much is going to grow. So the bacterial spoilage is going to be minimal. You can probably go a week or longer, especially if it's in cryovac, which excludes oxygen. Now, oxygen is your other enemy. Bacteria will kill you, but oxygen will turn the flavor funny. And pork is more susceptible to that than beef. I mean, if you've ever tried, freezing pork, you know that you can freeze beef longer than you can pork. The pork fat gets rancid faster than beef fat does. So rancid. I don't think you've got a problem with a week or maybe even 2, especially in a cryovac. If it's at a low temp, it's important. Almost all you guys got good thermometers. If you've got a thermometer with a remote probe, put it in your fridge. Check your fridge. Make sure your fridge is between 32 and 38. Once you start getting up over 40, some bacteria, not all, can grow. So you want to keep it down under 38 if you can, and that will probably be safe.
All right, Raleigh Smoke is up next, and he asks, is gas heat really drier than wood/charcoal, or is that a myth?
No, I think it's a myth.
Here's what I've always come to understand about gas heat. If you're burning wood or you're burning charcoal next to a window, let's say, it just makes everything hot. If you burn a gas heater by a window, there's condensation that forms onto the window. So I would imagine that means it's a wetter heat.
Yes. There is one of the byproducts of burning natural gas and or propane is water vapor. And so gas and propane do produce water vapor, whereas charcoal and wood will not. So it is a moisture heat.
All right. Next up, Doug Scheiding is asking, have you ever done corned beef brined beef ribs, or do you have a recipe for it?
Doug, I love you, baby. Yeah, and it's exactly the same recipe as doing regular corned beef. Oh. You've got your bone in there, which you can easily remove, but you just make your basic corned beef brine recipe. And yes, we have one on AmazingRibs.com, and it really works. I mean, we were among the very first to start writing about corning your own beef and then smoking it and turning it into pastrami. Now every mommy and daddy blog has a pastrami recipe, most of which are stolen from me. But that's okay, fine. I mean, flattery. That corned beef recipe on my site, really a good one, really works well, really simple. Basically, you just need salt. You can add the other flavors if you want. They're not going to penetrate too deep. There's no requirement you leave the bone on. If you leave the bone on, the salt is going to penetrate only from 3 sides, top and the 2 sides. It's not going to penetrate through the bone, obviously. So it may take a little longer than it would for a corned beef. But if you take the bone off, it will behave just like a corned beef, and you can make corned beef out of it. And beef ribs have a lot of striation, a lot of marbling. They're more like a brisket point than a brisket flat. So yeah, a good reason to do that.
All right, next question is from Dennis Busso, and he asks, Meathead, have you done any testing on woods that may have mold, or mildew, or other spots on them due to storage issues or other environmental conditions? I see this question come up all the time in chat rooms, and they want to know if the wood is safe to use.
I have not done testing on it, but I have pretty good reason to believe that it's probably not a great idea. I don't think you're likely to die, but molds do produce byproducts, some of which can be toxic. And burning it may not destroy it. And in fact, vaporizing it might, in fact, put it on your food. So really moldy wood, I would steer away from. In fact, I just faced a problem on the 4th of July, I went to pull my backwoods smoker out of. I haven't used it in a while, and boy, was she moldy in there. And I think a lot of people have encountered this, particularly Weber Smoky Mountains. They can get moldy. And you can burn it off. You can power wash it off. There's a bunch of ways to get rid of it. And I actually have a whole page devoted to that on the website. But you do want to get rid of it. I believe it. Now, I'm sharing belief, not fact. I'm sharing what I think is true, not something I have found out by testing. But I do believe it will affect the flavor.
All right, Meathead, I think we got time for one more question. From Barbecue Hunk, what's the best barbecue song about barbecue or meat?
You know, I'm biased. You got my theme song handy there,
that
Greg?
got
You
lost.
haven't played it in a long time.
I know, that got lost in the shuffle somewhere, and I don't know where it is.
I'll have to send it to you. I mean, I wrote "You Can't Hurry Ribs, You Just Gotta Wait," with apologies to Diana Ross. That's one of my favorites. There's a whole bunch of them. There's the Chicken Cordon Blues by Steve Goodman, which is one of my favorites. The guy starts dating a vegetarian, and he's got the Chicken Cordon Blues. See that chicken in the see that dog running in the street? He's got a smile on his face because they let him eat meat. I have, again, a whole page. Go to AmazingRibs.com and search on music or tunes, one of those two words, where I have a long list of food-related music, and many of them are linked to Apple Tunes or other places where you can download. And there's so many good. I mean, and especially when you go back to the early jazz singers, Ma Rainey, and how about Louis Armstrong? It was written by his wife Lil, but oh God, now I'm drawing a blank. The barbecue song that he sang, barbecue was code for a really pretty girl. Oh geez, what's the name of that damn song? Well, in any case, there's just a whole bunch of them, and they're a lot of fun, and I've got a long list of them, and I wrote the history of that barbecue song.
All right. Well, my goodness, we have raced through almost all of them. We got 3 holdovers for next month if they're relevant. What's OPP stand for there on the bottle, Meathead?
Oh, other people's Pinot.
I got it. All right. I guessed it, but I mean, hey.
I didn't get the joke. Again, I'm a little I didn't get the joke until somebody explained it to me. But it's a really nice Pinot Gris. And I'm not a Pinot Gris fan. I think it's a pretty insipid grape. But this one is a really good one. And somebody let me just get over here to YouTube. Somebody's got to help me with that Louis Armstrong song. Help me. Well, I got to go look it up. All right.
We'll hit it. We'll hit it next month. All right. We'll send it to me in between, and we'll queue it up for next month. And send me the other Can't Hurry Ribs, and we'll have it ready to go.
Okay.
All right. In the meanwhile, you can head over to AmazingRibs.com. Check out Meathead over there. And as always, thanks for the time, Meathead. We'll see you next month.
Next month.
All right. There he is, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. I can't believe I nailed OPP, Other People's Pinot. Man, I am so good. All right, that's Meathead. We are running up against the clock here for the second hour, so I will tell you this. Mid-September, and I don't have the date yet. I want to say, well, let me not befuddle myself. Let me see if I can quickly pull up the weekends here. So this would be September. Is it the week of the 14th then? September 14th? Maybe it's the 21st. The 14th or the 21st. I'm going to be hosting the Grill Fest over in Hartville Hardware. More to come on that. But stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right. Thanks again to Meathead. And we are racing to meet the top. So, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, and you want to jump in, do it. Stick around. We'll be right back.